Guys, we're here with Rich, and he's from Gyrocopter Flight Training Academy out of Sebastian, Florida.
That's correct.
Rich, tell us about you. Tell us about this beautiful aircraft behind you. Let's get started.
All right. Well, I've been flying for 40 years, and I got into gyros about 5 years ago. And they've always been kind of a passion for me because they're so unique. And I went to Gyrocopter Flight Training Academy, got checked out, got introduced to this beautiful aircraft, and have basically been in love with gyros ever since. I find these to be probably the safest and funnest aircraft I've flown. I mean, I fly almost everything you can think of. So, like I said, I've been really enjoying this. Of course, doesn't get any better flying in Florida, I don't think.
No, I don't think so. I agree with you on that. It's kind of nice.
This aircraft's made in Poland.
Who's it made by? Tell us.
Oh.
Give us the quick rundown.
The name of the company, I'd have to actually look it up because I can't pronounce it.
Okay, excellent. Okay.
But if you look up Argon, that's the brand, you'll find it out on the web very easily.
Okay.
We have 2 of these. We also help people purchase them, so we've sold quite a few. They have a newer model now that has added 12 inches behind the front seat.
And this is, okay, so it's a little bit longer, but this is amazingly wide too.
Oh, this is the widest gyro on the market right now.
Well, take us through it. Let's have a quick peek.
All right. So one of the nice things here in Florida for us too is we can take the doors off. So we fly this in the summer without the doors off. We do have to reduce the speed because you get the
cavitation, like
the banging against the rear. So we're limited to about 75, 80 without the doors off. But with the doors on, we can cruise at about 100. We have one of these. Our other one has a duck prop on it.
Okay.
And that duck prop is amazing. I don't get any commission from these guys, but
note you.
it added about 10 miles an hour to the performance.
Oh, wow.
Yeah,
okay.
It really was amazing.
And how did it affect fuel economy and things like that?
Everything else is pretty much the same. Yeah.
So you get an extra speed, same fuel economy?
Yeah, it didn't really affect it.
So the prop is that important for you?
It's a light prop.
Yeah.
Well, for us, for training, we're not very interested in speed and all that, you know. That's why this is our basic model. Our other model is more fancy, has leather seats, has heated seats.
Oh, heated seats. It's definitely for Florida, yeah.
It's kind of the show model, right? Heated seats don't work too well in Florida. You can get these with heat as well.
Okay.
Another interesting feature of this
let's have a look inside,
is the visibility. So we have these little windows in the, nose.
Okay.
And of course then the windows here, the windows up at the top. So we have great visibility in this aircraft.
And you're right, so wide, and that's a large center console there too.
It is a very wide one.
Yeah.
And so, you know, in the cheap model, got a nice no glove box.
Okay, no glove box, okay.
In the upper model, there is a glove box.
So the bonus is the glove box, okay, excellent.
They throw in the cheap model.
And there's no coffee cup holders in the expensive model?
You're absolutely right, there is a coffee holder.
There is?
It's in the expensive model. If you're a sailor, you'll love this.
Yes,
I mean,
I know what those
the
are.
sails.
Yeah.
Okay, well, this is how you trim it on this particular aircraft.
Oh, seriously?
Yes.
Okay, that's pretty cool.
Now, on the expensive model, we
have
a little
button.
Yeah, a little button. It's an electric motor.
Okay, perfect.
You know, it does the same thing. We do have ADS-B in and out on this.
Now, this must be nice for training-wise, just because of the space and with the doors on. Good.
Oh yeah.
You know.
Yeah, it's amazing. I have noise canceling headsets.
Yeah.
I never used the noise canceling feature. It's just not that noisy. Yeah, partially because the engine is behind you.
That's true.
As opposed to being in front of you, like in a regular aircraft. All our aircraft are outfitted with the iFly EFB. We find that to be probably one of the best EFBs.
You're saying it's a pretty simple operation.
It is
and
so
works really
simple
well?
to use. So simple to use. I tell everybody, basically, once you got the menu, 2 pushes, anything you need. Yeah, and it's also IFR. You can use it for IFR. It comes with IFR plates. Of course, we don't fly these in IFR, but you know, we have some real airplanes, and so we do fly IFR at times. What else can I tell you about this? I mean, you know, the rotor brake is a push forward on the stick.
Okay.
That's how you do the rotor brake on this. You know, some aircraft have pneumatics. The hand brake, it has a hand brake, the hand squeeze brake.
And are you finding they're fairly robust for training and things like that?
It's pretty rugged. I mean, you know, students like to beat up aircraft. This could take a beating. It could take a beating.
Okay.
you know.
And I see it's powered by what, Rotax 915?
915. I could pop the cover
No,
off if you
that's
wanna
a lot
see
of
it.
work. No, that's good.
A lot of work. It's just 5 bolts.
Take out the duct.
But yes, it has the 915. You can get this with the 916.
Okay.
You know, I've been telling people, you know, the 916 is great, especially if you're at high altitude, short runways, because most of the advantage of the 916 is in the takeoff performance.
It's in takeoff, yeah.
In cruise,
It's about the same.
same as the 915. Yeah. So, you know, here in Florida, 916 probably doesn't give us much benefit.
No.
Though it does have a little less fuel consumption.
It does, which is kind of strange.
It
isn't
is kind of strange.
It's really weird. We make a little bit more horsepower, but we use less fuel.
Yeah, that's the mystery engine.
Yeah, it's the mystery engine. Yeah, I don't know what they did.
All our aircraft have Rotexes in them. I mean, they've been rock solid. I mean, rock solid. And support from Rotex has always been good. So, you know, I mean, they sell more engines than Lycoming and Continental combined right now. And it's just amazing.
Well, they've been in the market for quite a while. I mean, not that as long as those guys, but they've been for a while, and they're pretty robust engines too, as well. Just like the aircraft itself, you know.
Well, the experimental market has really helped because you know they can put innovation in and can keep enhancing it, making them better. You know, as far as the certified stuff is.
But you know, it's strange. Rotex has always, in the past, always wanted it before they release anything. They have a certified engine.
Really?
Which is strange. So they have the market coming out, and yes, the engine's ready to go, but they're always waiting for certification first before they release it out. So it's pretty cool. I mean, it's a pretty amazing company. So
the only unnerving thing about the Rotex is when you shut off the engine. Yeah.
It has some unique features. Yeah.
And you know, when you're at low power, the reduction gear kind of sounds like marbles running around in there. It makes you wonder. But other than that, very smooth, very responsive. This thing, a great takeoff performance on this thing. I mean, this thing really.
So now tell us about your flight school. Let's get into that. You're one of the instructors.
One of the instructors there. Yeah. We're at Sebastian, Florida, Treasure Coast, just north of Vero Beach and south of Melbourne. We have 2 runways. There is an instrument runway there as well. It's an uncontrolled field, which makes it nice. We do compete with the parachute jumpers. It's one of the largest parachute schools in the country there. Yeah, but we have a great relationship with them, so it's never turned into an issue or a problem. We have our own building. We have our own hangar. We have a training room.
And so tell us about flight training. Let's say somebody has never flown before. So can you start from that, or do you want them to start with previous experience?
Oh, no. We take what we call transition pilots. So if you already have a pilot certificate, we can get you your gyro certificate, the sport pilot. Yeah. Typically average 10 hours.
Perfect.
Okay. We really focus on takeoffs and landings because once you're up in the air, flying these is pretty much like flying an airplane.
Okay, I don't want to sound biased against all the other aircraft that I interview and talk about, but I got blessed to be in a gyro in California, and there's something unique about it. To me, it's like a flying armchair. So, I haven't felt that in any other type of aircraft before. So it's like a flying armchair, and if you want to turn around and have a look at something, you just turn around.
There's no
banking. There's no that. We're right there.
Well, that's the advantage too of this with the twin rudders. This thing is very maneuverable. You know, you kick in that rudder, you can spin it on a dime.
And also in rough weather too, windy weather, you don't feel it as much.
No, the reason is because the rotor is flexible. Yeah. All right. So an airplane has a solid wing, more or less. I mean, if you get on a Boeing, they do flex.
They do flex a little bit.
But on the little airplanes, they're pretty rock solid. And when you hit updraft, but on the gyro, it's the rotor and it. So it absorbs.
That's why I said it's like a flying armchair. It's like a lazy boy, and you're in the sky, and it just feels so comfortable. Yeah. And with the extra vision you guys have in this aircraft, wow.
Now the things that are unnerving for transition pilots is one, we flare like a foot from the ground. They're used to being up a little higher when they flare. Yeah. Now if you're a glider pilot, you're used to it. Glider pilots can transition to do these probably easier than fixed wing pilots because they're used to landing very close to the ground, and gliders don't really flare. And we don't really flare these either, right? The flare is in the rotor head, not in the fuselage.
Sure.
So that's a difference of the gyros.
So you just, it's like a parachute, I guess.
Yeah, kind of like a parachute. Yeah. Though if without the engine running, you're dropping pretty quick.
Okay, we're not talking about, well, it's Rotex, so we don't have to worry about that.
Now, we do a lot of engine-out training, obviously for safety reasons, which is also the beauty of the gyros as opposed to a helicopter, is they're in auto rotation all the time.
That's true.
In a helicopter, you have to transition
to that, yeah.
And from what I hear, you got like 3 to 6 seconds to do that. So, you know, if you get the deer in the headlight syndrome, it might be too late. But for us, every landing is auto rotation pretty much.
Perfect.
The other thing for fixed-wing pilots is the engine out. When you kill the engine on these for training, it's a pretty steep nose-down attitude, and we're dropping 1,200, 1,300 feet per minute.
Wow.
It's a quick, but that rotor, plenty of energy at the bottom.
You just flare it right out.
You just flare it right out.
Yeah.
It lands soft as. That's the other thing. These things land. You never have a hard landing in a gyro.
And it's if you look at it, it's like one of those seeds with the little.
Oh yeah, the maple.
And just like, and it's right there.
Well, an interesting story about the maple leaf. You know, originally the rotor teeters.
Yeah.
Okay, that's how it equalizes lift on each side.
Perfect.
The original Juan de la Sierra was one of the original creators of this.
Yeah.
You know, he made a rigid rotor, and thing spins great. It goes down the runway, and all of a sudden they kept flipping over on the side. He couldn't figure
out why. Yeah.
Okay, it's a true story.
Yeah.
So he was going to the opera one night, and he saw a maple leaf, and he saw how it. And the lights went off.
Yeah, little simple.
Yeah,
Wow.
and that's why we have a teetering.
And it works perfectly. I had a question for you. Now, drawing a blank. It'll come to me.
I can make up an answer.
Yeah, you can make up an answer. Yeah, let's just go with that. Let's go with that. We'll just carry on. Now, the question was, we've talked about transition pilots, but I'm talking about brand new.
Okay, so brand new pilots, obviously there's a written test.
Yeah.
You have to take an FAA written test. It's a 40-question test for a sport pilot. There's plenty of study programs out there. I want to caution people, though, a lot of the online study programs focus on fixed wing. So you want to make sure you get one that concentrates on gyros.
Is there a different exam for?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, it's a different exam for gyros. It's pretty much the same exam except maybe 5 questions.
Okay.
Or, you know.
If it's 40 questions, 5's a lot of questions.
Yeah. So you only need 70% to pass. However, the more you get wrong when you go for your check ride, the more the examiner is going to ask you.
Okay.
So it behooves you to study hard and
right
do
at the
well.
beginning.
Yes.
Now, do you guys offer that training then too?
We recommend an online course. I don't know if I can mention their name.
Go ahead.
Yeah, Dauntless Aviation. They put together a very, very good sport pilot training program, and we actually have it at our office as well. Students have done very well with that. Okay. Actually, I used when I got my ATP.
Oh.
So they cover everything, but we do like their sport pilot stuff.
Okay, that's good to know.
So the other thing then, no medical required, which is a great thing. We prefer U.S. citizens because of the TSA hassle. I mean, the TSA is a pretty complex process.
If you weren't, you'd have to complete your training in a year. I think there's so many.
You got to get fingerprinted.
Yeah.
You got to send pictures in. I mean, it's just a lot of overhead and paperwork involved.
Yeah.
I've actually run into a unique situation where I've got a lot of pilots with U.S. certificates based on a foreign certificate.
Oh, so they're
so they're like a Canadian pilot,
yeah.
Right? Got a Canadian private pilot, fixed wing, and they went to the FAA, and then whatever paperwork they do, they get a U.S. pilot certificate.
I didn't know you could do that.
The problem is you can't add a sport pilot rating to it.
Okay.
So they have to start from scratch.
See, this is why we do interviews.
Yeah. Well, it was a new experience for me too. I try to figure this out. Yeah. Every day I'm kind of learning something new.
You know what? Every day, the days we stop learning something new, then what's
time
the
to pack it in?
Yeah, time to pack it in.
Now, another great thing is Mosaic.
It's the remembering the stuff.
If your audience is not familiar with Mosaic.
Tell us about Mosaic, and how's it going to affect you?
Well, the FAA now is revamping the sport pilot rules. It was a 300-page document. All the comments have been submitted. They were due in January.
Yeah.
The FAA now is going through that massive comments, and they should be publishing their final ruling on Mosaic. There are just so many, like one of the changes, the potential, again, if it's approved, for sport pilots to fly at night. Sport pilots can't fly at night right now.
Okay.
So that's a great improvement. I know for the fixed wing community, they're increasing potentially the weight limits. So that's going to open up a broader
Particularly the
range
seaplanes and things like that.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yep. There's a potential that you could fly a Piper Cherokee that has 4 seats as a sport pilot. You can only carry 1 passenger, but you could fly that aircraft.
Oh, that's a lot of golf clubs.
Oh, it's amazing the things they have proposed. It's all for the better for aviation.
Yep.
The only thing is that for gyros, like the increased weight limit doesn't apply because they based it on stall speed.
Okay.
Gyroplanes don't stall. They have no stall speed. That's one of the beauties and why they're so safe. You can never spin a gyro.
Okay.
They just don't. They just descend. And even if you're flying at 0 airspeed, which we do, you will descend, but it's fully controllable.
It's fully controllable, and that's what I like. And you can spin around and just not spin around, but do your turn, a tight turn right there. And
You
if you've missed something, you can find it again.
But you can't land at 0 airspeed.
No, that's
you
true.
always have to have some forward
momentum.
speed.
Yeah.
But you have that forward speed, but when you flare, these things, it's like a big air brake. When you put that rotor back,
Yeah.
and when you land, your airspeed goes to 0 like that.
Quickly, yeah.
Yeah, so you just stop. That's how people get killed, in engine outs. It's not so much when they hit the ground, it's because they're rolling forward and they hit something. So, yeah, I found these to be, if you have an engine out on a takeoff, no big deal, because these things take off in like 300, 400 feet, and there's plenty of runway ahead of us.
To land, yes. So now, how do people reach you? Is there a website?
Yeah, we have a website, Gyrocopter Flight Training Academy.com.
Okay.
I know it's really long. I didn't pick the name. And it's Gyrocopter Flight Training Academy, not gyroplane. Story about that. Why gyroplane? Why gyrocopter? Igor Bensen, who we kind of can call the father of the sport gyroplanes, he copyrighted that.
Okay.
So you can't. I think that copyright's expired by now, but the FAA couldn't use it. So the FAA created the term gyroplane.
Oh, perfect. Okay.
Yeah. So that's the difference between
Alrighty.
the two of them.
And it's actually, I think gyroplane is probably a better, because it's not really a helicopter.
It is not really a helicopter.
So it's perfect for it.
And another interesting tidbit, if you go through the FAR's Part 91, there is only one regulation in there that applies to rotorcraft. This is considered a rotorcraft. Everything else is considered aircraft or helicopter. So that's a question I ask my students.
Okay.
To know which one of those regs it
So
is.
all of you guys that are signing up for the training, there's your first answer ready for you.
But the thing is, so this has to comply pretty much with all aircraft regulations, not helicopter.
Perfect. And do you have a phone number at all?
I have a personal phone number.
But for the-
Actually, no, we do have one.
Okay, we'll sneak this way.
Yeah.
And we're not going to cut this. We're just doing a walk.
This is my boss's phone number, which is actually the business phone number. So.
And I don't know if we'll get it there, so let's read it out. So it is
904-710-6656.
Well, guys, you've heard it here. Rich, thank you so much for your time.
Oh,
it's
my
been
pleasure.
really interesting. I love my job, walking around and doing interviews. And actually, while we're at it, we'll just turn around and we'll look from behind, because this is a very, very unique gyro. I'm going to say plane, gyroplane. And you can see how wide it is compared to some of the others out there. And yeah, like you said, the extra tail, just for stability and things
extra
like that.
rudder.
So, yeah.
Yep. Of course, horizontal stabilizer there for stability. All the modern gyros have horizontal stabilizers. That prevented the bunt over. It's called a bunt over.
Yeah.
In the early days, they didn't have these horizontal stabilizers. And if you added power or whatever, got a gust, they nose over.
Okay.
The one thing you don't do in a gyro is unload that rotor. And when I mean unload it, it's always under a G-force. Unloading it means you go to 0 G.
Yeah.
That's fun on roller coasters. It's fun in a car on a hill.
Not fun on a gyro.
Fun on a gyroplane.
Okay.
You do it once. And you'll never be able to do it again.
Okay. Well, Rich, thank you so much for your time. Appreciate it, and thanks for coming out to Bensen.
Yeah.
And
We're here every year.
Excellent. This is my first time.
Wow.
Yeah.
Are you going to Mentone?
I'm going up. Next one is Sun and Fun for us.
Okay.
So we'll be there.
We'll be there too.
Excellent. Well, we'll see you there.
All
Nice
right,
meeting you.
great.
Well, we'll do it reverse. Thank you.
All right.